This is Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison's celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day. I'm Molly Brown, alongside Devyn Robinson, who is a junior middle blocker for Wisconsin Volleyball, the best Wisconsin volleyball team. Oh my gosh, insane. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So basically, I just kind of want to get a little bit of your background. Like, tell us how you got to Wisconsin. How did you choose Wisconsin? I know you're originally from Ankeny, Iowa, so you're not a Hawkeye.
No, definitely not.
Was there any possibility of you becoming a Hawkeye?
No, because my dad was a basketball coach for Iowa State, so he was like, no, you can't be recruited by them, like, at all.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I have family in Iowa, so I'm a big Hawkeye gal, but love the Badgers more. But
Okay.
so how did you get to Wisconsin? Like, what's your journey?
Well, first, because we come from a basketball household, so my dad was like, for me and my brothers, we all played basketball. Like, my brothers still play basketball, and I was like, oh, like, I'm going to go to the WNBA. Like, I'm so ready for this. And then one day in third grade when we lived in Houston, Texas, my dad took me to a volleyball clinic, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to do it. And I remember vividly this one ball that was going to the ground. Like, the whole camp, I was sitting there, like, my arms crossed. I was like, I don't want to do this. But there was this one point at the very end where a ball was going to the ground and nobody was going for it. And I dove and I, like, bruised my hip. I don't know if I got the ball up or anything, but I was like, wow, that was great. And then my mom, like, signed me up for club and all that stuff. And then we moved around. And I went to high school in Ankeny, Iowa, and that's where I kind of took off, I feel. And that's where I was recruited by Kelly Sheffield. And I don't know, when I just got on campus for my visit, this sounds so cliche, like, I was just like, oh, like, this is just right. Like, I need to be here. And I don't know, this is kind of how I got here.
Awesome. What's some of your favorite things about UW? Like, because you've gone here since you were a freshman, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's some of your favorite things about the campus, about the school, everything?
For me, I feel like it's just the atmosphere. Like, the people here, especially, like, the fan base for volleyball is insane. Like, people lining up down the street every game day, and especially this past season, I think we broke, like, a record for the decibels of how loud it was in there.
Wow.
And it's just, like, I don't know, it's just an amazing place to be at, I feel.
What was it like? You guys had your big game against Florida this year at the Kohl Center. That was absolutely crazy. I feel like you guys could fully book out the Kohl Center for every single game. Like you said, there's a line down the street for every single one. What was that atmosphere like?
Honestly, it was, like, amazing. I was like, wow, no way. All these people are out here for me. And it took me like 30 minutes to get from my apartment to the Kohl Center. And the Kohl Center's down the street from where I live.
Gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was like, why is there so much traffic? And all my teammates were like, Devyn, there's 17,000 people, like, here to watch us. I was like, oh yeah. But, like, I don't know, it was just amazing to see the support for a women's sport like that.
For sure. And you have a coach in Kelly Sheffield who is a big proponent for equality for women, equality for women's athletics, specifically volleyball, being on air, on TV, just as much as men's. What does that mean to have a coach that fully supports the equality of women?
Well, he makes that a point, like, every day. He's like, make sure you're speaking up. Like, if we don't speak up, like, he wants to turn us into strong, powerful women, not just in volleyball, but, like, in life in general. So it's like, in every meeting, every practice, like, if you have to speak up, he wants you to stand up tall and stand in the front of the room and, like, project. If you whisper, he'll make you start over. And I don't know, I just feel like that's such a good, like, I may be uncomfortable at some points, but it's just a good environment to be around and support system to have.
For sure. And, like, with your teammates, how do you guys kind of support each other as female athletes, you know? Because, like, I feel like I look at you guys at your team and just think these are such awesome, badass women. Like, watching even your guys' last run, like, yes, you didn't make it to the national championship, but still, like, the way you guys just crushed it, you had the environment, you had the home environment here. Just, do you think that you and your team are changing the landscape for women's sports? Like, do you guys feel that when you're around each other?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I forget that not everyone is, like, 6'4", you know, like, especially coming into, like, this internship. I came here and I was like, oh wow, like, I'm really tall compared to everyone.
You're literally a foot taller than me. Legit.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just a great space to be in, just like tall, powerful, confident women, and it's just we all give each other that confidence on the court and like outside of things like this. Like I remember telling my team, I was like, oh yeah, I have an interview for an internship. They're like, yes, like crush it, like you badass girl, like you got it. I'm like, oh, okay, like yeah, it's like it's nice to have that built-in team that's always gonna hype you up.
I love that. We are speaking with Devyn Robinson of the Wisconsin volleyball team. Also, take me back to that national championship.
Oh, man.
What was that like?
Honestly, I low-key was like, I blacked out playing that game. Like, I remember I couldn't hear anything until like the last like final points, but it was just amazing because like most of the people in there were cheering for Nebraska, but like hearing like just oh from each side, you know, it was just insane. And then that final point, like literally, I don't know, just tears, screaming, especially because we had to redo the last point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I don't know, just winning it twice in that night was pretty awesome.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of school, you're a communications major and you also have your certificate in sports journalism.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your aspirations for like post-graduation, post-volleyball? Do you want to go pro volleyball? What are your aspirations with all that?
Well, hopefully after we win another natty, I want to go play pro overseas for a little bit and then hopefully come back and do some stuff like sports broadcasting or like, I don't know, behind the scenes work. I just want to be around sports.
Love it. And then your father, you said he played collegiate basketball and he is also a collegiate basketball coach currently
Yes.
at Cincinnati State, correct?
At Cleveland State.
Okay, Cleveland State. I got to get my Ohio stuff right. I am sorry.
That's okay.
But what is that like having a father or a parental figure in athletics? Like, what has he taught you through your life, and does he kind of provide the same things that like Kelly Sheffield does in terms of like being a strong woman? What's that like?
Well, I just feel like, I don't know, it's similar to Kelly, but it's like completely different because like that's my dad and he was always, I don't know, supporting me. He's like, if you want it, like dream it, do it. And he would always get me in the gym or was like, Dad, if I want to, I used to run track and he'd get up with me at like 5 a.m. to like help me practice my long jump or get in the gym for basketball. And even when I went home this past winter break, he was like, if you want to get in the gym to like touch some balls with our volleyball team, like that would be, I can get that for you. And I was like, okay. It's just nice to have a father that like supports me through everything, you know, and that he's such a like outspoken guy and just like, I don't know, I want to be him when I grow up.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And what's some of your best advice that you could provide to women, girls in sports, whether they're looking to further their athletic career or, like you said, sports journalism, like any girl that wants to go into that? What's some of your best advice for them?
Honestly, like you can do it. Like you, like don't tell yourself like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. It's like, yeah, you are. Like you are here for a reason. If you want to do something, go out there and get it done because no one's stopping you. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean anything. You can do it better than a man.
Yeah.
So.
And some advice for yourself. What would you give if you could go back, give yourself some advice, younger you, whether that's your first year at UW, beyond that, what's some advice that you would give to yourself?
Advice I would give to myself? That is a really good question. I think I would tell myself, especially my sophomore year, do more things that scare me. Because I would not like participate in class as much because I was scared of sounding stupid or like there were other like opportunities I could have done, but I just didn't want to because I was scared of like not looking like I belong there. And I just would have told myself like, just do it. Just throw yourself into it. Like it's not as scary as it seems.
For sure. I feel like that's something as women too that like we're scared of doing,
Yeah.
you know, like I feel like men so often can just go do it because they don't have any fears, but like especially being in a male dominated industry with broadcasting or even athletics, like that's, I feel like that's something that's so important to just do things outside your comfort zone and just take the chances and do it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And last question here. What are some of your favorite memories at UW other than the national championship? Because I will take that one off the table because I feel like that's the easiest answer. What are some of your other favorite memories here?
I think one of my favorite memories here at UW. Oh, when we got can I say like when we got our championship rings?
Oh my gosh, of course.
Okay.
That's awesome.
When we got our championship rings this past season at our home opener, like that was amazing, hearing the crowd like go crazy. And honestly, every time like in the starting lineup when they call my name, just the love that I feel from the crowd is pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I know I said that was my last question, but I lied. This is Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison's celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day. What does it mean to you to be a woman in sports? Like, do you even think? Because sometimes I almost feel bad asking people like being very specific with like, oh, you're a female in sports, like instead of just being like we are all equal type thing. But like, what does it mean to you to be a woman in sports?
Honestly, it means everything to me because sports are like my life, and I don't know. I don't know. It's just a really powerful thing, especially nowadays with like my sport getting more recognition in women's sports, like even basketball, women's basketball and hockey just like taking off. I just feel like it's such a great thing for the community as a whole, especially for little girls who see us on TV. Getting a platform like that is just, it's amazing.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've faced any like hardships or specific challenges because you are a woman in sports, or do you think that like it's been pretty, I don't want to say like equal, but that it's been pretty, not necessarily easy, but just, do you think that you've faced any challenges like to get where you are right now?
Yeah, because I remember when I was in high school, I was telling some of my guy friends, I was like, oh yeah, maybe when I'm older I'll like cover women's basketball, and they all like started laughing.
Really?
And I was like, are you serious? Like I was like, women like this, they do it better than you sometimes. Like I'd like to see you pick up a ball and go do what they're doing. And I don't know, just having people doubt you or being like, wow, like you're pretty like athletic for a girl. It's like, I'm just athletic, period. Like,
Yes.
I can do more than you're doing. Like, I don't know. It's just people always constantly doubting you or being like, oh, wow, like, you're a woman. I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah. Like, and you're a guy. Like, I'm doing it better than you. Like, who even knows who you are, you know?
Right.
It's things like that.
Do you think with, like, the success that the volleyball team has had, too, that's kind of changed people's opinions about women in sports?
Oh, definitely. Especially, like, with last year in the national championship when we had the most viewers, that it was like 1.8 million people. Crazy. And then 18,000 people there. Like, you know, more people are knowing about volleyball and seeing just how like athletic you have to be to play this sport.
Absolutely. I'm literally, I told you this before we started recording, but I was trying to ask you about like your cardio routine, because I will, like this past year I watched you guys and I'm like, how do they keep going? How do you guys not look gassed? You guys still look like pretty. You have great hair as you're like jumping, blocking, all the things. And like, it's just insane how athletic you guys are. And I think that volleyball is so awesome, and just your guys' team in general is just awesome to watch. So but this has been Lead Her Forward, ESPN Madison celebration of National Women and Girls in Sports Day. Will continue after this. And thanks so much, Devyn.
Thank you.